Well, good morning, my fellow repairers of Land Rovers and other things. Um, we have finally got to a nice day. As you can see, the sun is shining on my swing arm, ready to do the repair of the front lower arm, which I'm really pleased about. So just going to go through and check we've got the right bits. So we've got our nut here for the ball joint. We've got our suspension strut nut and bolt. We've got our hub nut there. You're going to need a new one of those when you take them off. We've got the rear concentric cams and their respective parts as well, washers and nuts and bolts. So we're looking good. Okay, step one, we're going to take off this little cap here that hides what's inside, and we're going to get to our nut in here. This is done up really tightly, and it's also staked over, so we've got to get that loose before we start doing anything else. Otherwise it's a bit of a no-go. Obviously we've got to dig out our locking wheel nut, and underneath the car there's the plastic tray that's just under here, and that's got to come out as well to get to the rear nut on the lower swing arm. So we are just going to do these little prep bits. I'm just going to get out my big spanner, and then we'll loosen this off if we can, fingers crossed, and then we'll carry on. So once you've got suspension lowered, you're ready to go. Otherwise, jacking it up and down and moving it and taking things off is very difficult, because it'll be stuck in a certain height and there'll be a lot of tension on it. I remember now how to unstake this kind of thing. I've got a little spanner, and you just pop it in, and it kind of nicely just gets under the thing and unbends it, which is cool. Makes it a bit easier. Right, before I start, I'm just going to give it a little kick with my impact gun just to see that I can start it. Just so it loosens a little bit of the tension on the nut, because it's been on there a long time. There you go. Phew, not too bad. Okay, these are our nice cam bolts. These are where the alignment sort of done, because it sits between these two raised bits, and as you turn it, it pushes the arm in and out a little bit, just to get the the camber and all that kind of stuff correct. So what we're going to do is just make a bit of a marking here, and then we'll transfer that onto the new washer when we get these parts out. Just get it nicely aligned, and then we can just roughly get the suspension back to where it is. Yeah, and I'm probably just going to do a sort of equivalent mark on this side, just so I've got a good mark that I can see, and then I can align that up when I come and put them back on. I might do a couple, just so you've got a good reference point. That makes sense. There you go. So we've got a couple of marks on that one. I'll do the same on the other side, and then we've got our reference when we put the arm back on, just to roughly get it in position. You will need to get the suspension professionally aligned after that, but it won't be too far off, as long as you kind of get it like this. I think as well, just a little mention on order. Obviously we've undone that. We want to make sure that the shaft pushes out. That could be a bit fun, but hopefully it'll be loose, because I have replaced the wheel bearings before. So you're going to start from the outside. You've got this this pivot nut here that's got to come off, and then you've got your suspension, and then you've got your two bushes at the back. On the Discovery 3, you actually have to take this off, because you have to pull the hub assembly out in order to hook the arm back in. On the Discovery 4, I think you can do it without that, but on the Discovery 3 you just can't. Tried to when I originally did the repair, because I have done the other side before, and like complete muppet, I tried to do that, but that doesn't work on the Discovery 3. This should be nicely wedged in, so in theory you should be able to undo it and it shouldn't spin, but if it does, there is a hex key in the top that you could use if needed, but obviously that's a bit more of a faff if it doesn't come undone. Obviously you've got to apply a good amount of tension to undo it, but it shouldn't be a crazy tight. So once you've got this off, and of course this has got to be separated, so I'm going to get a small sledgehammer and just give it a couple of knocks. But when you do that, you don't want this nut off, otherwise it'll spring up and potentially whack you in the face, which you probably don't want. I certainly don't. Okay, as you can, all right, you can see in here we've got this pushed through nicely, so it's now able to move. Right, don't know how easy that was to see, that was a bit of a faff. Get this dry shaft right out. I'm not going to move this around a lot because I've got to get a new ball joint in. How easy it is to see again, but this is kind of perished in here. I can put my screwdriver in, you can see. So that's without me forcing it. So that's perished there. So that's not right. This looks like it's sort of getting perished. It's perished there. So it's definitely, I mean, it's old. So I'm assuming this is what's slightly wrong with the car. See in here, so sort of the rubber's all perishing. So definitely not very good. This is actually not too bad. The ball joint is a bit looser than you would expect from a new one, but not too bad. So what we've got to try and do is get these to match as good as possible between the old and the new. So I'm going to line them up as well as you can, so they look pretty much as accurate as possible. And then when you've got your marks on the other one, you can put them on the new one. And then I'll continue them over. Yeah. Highly untechnical, I'm afraid. But it's just so you're going to roughly get this in alignment with what's there already. So that's the rear one. And then I'll do the front one as well. So I'm going to line these up again so that they are kind of equivalent of the cam positions. And just sort of get some nice lines going. Right, cool, done that. Get all the old ones out of the way, don't reuse them. Okay, we're kind of working backwards now, so hopefully This will go in, not too much of a hassle, and we can pop the drive shaft back as well. Right, fingers crossed at this point I can do it. I'll try and get the ball joint in first. Aha! Get the knot on that quickly, just so that it's in position. Okay. Drive shaft goes back where it should be. There you go. Kind of the game of getting it to line up with the spleens and things. Whew. It's the most stressful bit over. I think what I'll do is I'll get the rears in, and then I've got to sort of get this aligned. Might have to do some jacking on that, but I think if I can get the rears in, I can start to get this manoeuvred so that it goes back in properly, because it's a bit at a funny angle, and then we'll go from there. Temporarily putting the bolts in the back just to see what position we're in. What I want to do is get the drive shaft pop back in a bit more. I think that's giving us a starting position. Right, that's definitely better. Okay, I'm pleased that's in, because otherwise that's the stressful bit, and the drive shaft as well. And the thing you want is the drive shaft to be sticking out enough to actually get the bolt on. I might even put the old bolt on, just so I know it's kind of not going to slide around anymore. But it should be coming this way, not be pushing in. That's good. Okay, major Muppet moment then. The reason I can't jack this in, put this in, is because I haven't jacked up the other side of the car. Yes, I know. Basic 101 stuff. There you go. So I've just gone around and jacked it up, and now we can get this to go in. So problem over, problem solved, which wasn't there in the end. So you put your cam washer on, then the normal washer, and then inlet. And just gonna sort of initially tighten these up. We're not going to do them fully because we have to get the vehicle set to the correct height before we tighten everything and torque it. So, and while we're doing this as well, we're gonna just get our alignment marks roughly in position before we go really torque tight. Just going to quickly just give this the little turn to make it roughly in alignment with the two marks that are on it. Oh, I keep dropping my thingy. So we kind of, you know, you just got to get it to where you feel you're kind of happy with it. I can put my spanner on, and I've got an 8mm thing, and I've got a breaker bar somewhere. I've lost. So I can just hold that in position. There you go. I can get this to start tightening up a little bit better. Right, we'll do some talking in a minute, getting everything up. Just going to finish off this one here, the higher one. Finish off the strut, just so that it's pulled in tight enough, and then we'll finish it off. Right, nearly there. Okay, got this one under here. This is 85 foot-pounds or 115 Newton meters, so it shouldn't be too bad. Click, click, there you go. That one's done. The other ones are a little bit more difficult, but I've done that first. And we're just going to get raised up to 466 mil between, we're going to raise up between the hub center and the top of the wheel arch. We're going to get 466 mil, and then we're going to do the rest of the torquing. These are much higher torques. Not convinced I'll be able to do them properly, but they'll certainly be within reason and, well, hopefully tight enough. But I have done the suspension arm on the other side before, and it didn't fall off, so I'm kind of confident. Okay, I've got my ride height, and then I've got these done up, so I'm positioned. So the front and the rear one, they're just positioned, and I've clicked them on to like 85, like the bottom one, just so that they're initially tight. I'm just going to do this one up and do another click on this so that it's kind of 85. So whether that's very exciting to watch, I don't know, but the problem with my torque wrench, it only goes up to 150 foot-pounds, but I'm just going to have a little look at my book and state what these need to be. So from my book of Haynes, chapter 11, oh yes, chapter 11, number 2. So we've got our lower suspension arm bolts have got to be 203 foot-pounds or 275 Newton meters. This one is a big torque. This is God, it takes me ages to read all this stuff. So that's 300 Newton meters or 221 foot-pounds. So I'm just going to dig out my got like one of these devices that can do torque and see whether I can just get it to work for me and connect it up and see whether I can just torque that one up, and then do maybe a higher torque on the rear ones. And then I might release the jack so that I can just finish them off, because they're not going to move once they're torqued up. In fact, I might just do, I think what I'll just do, because the torques on these are so high, is initially I'm just going to torque them up to the maximum of the torque wrench if I can do it, and then I will torque them further once I've finished with that, because I've got a torque device that connects onto the breaker bar. Right, that's 150 on that one. Let's see if we can do 150 on this chippy. Right, so that's 150 on that one. The other side is going to be a bit more awkward, so I won't bother filming that, but I'll do the same, and then we'll drop the suspension. This is the thing that I've got that's separate. It's a kind of torque thing. Don't really like it that much. I don't think it works as well as it should do. I've kind of done the bolts at the back and the suspension strut bolt as tight as I can. It's not my favourite tool, and it doesn't seem to really beep consistently when you want it to. Supposedly it gets the right torque, it beats. That's why I bought it, because I thought it was a kind of good audio signal. The last thing I've got to do is this. So I'm going to probably put my under tray back on, which is hiding under here, and I'll drop down, put the wheel back on, drop down onto the wheel, just make sure everything's moving freely. Then I'll tighten up this nut, and then once you've tightened it up, you need to stake it so that it's not going to come undone again. And then that's it, job over really. So I'll report back if there are any problems on the post, but I think pretty much there. So there you go, replacing your lower front suspension arm with the incorrect one. Did work. Doesn't seem to be snagging on anything. Looks happy enough. I will let you know if I find any issues with it. So this is 230 Newton meters. There you go, click, click. Not too high. And then just got to take the wheel off again, stake it. Okay, so I've reached the end of my job and my tether, I think. I'm just going to do up my nuts and make sure that we are safe to go back on the road. What do I think? Yeah, it's an alright job. Can be done in a day because this is the about 4 o'clock. So I've been going since about 10 o'clock till 4. Made sure I had some brakes and yeah, it's not too bad. I'm not sure about the torquing, which I don't like, and yeah, just make sure you've got everything put back together and tight and you feel happy. You know, I don't know really. I don't know. It's hard work. So if you're stronger than me, you'll probably be all right.